See how this goes tonight. Wait a few minutes to get everybody on here. Hopefully we got that all ready to go. Yep, we should be good. I think we're actually on the old Wi-Fi tonight because the weather's somewhat nicer. But yeah. All right, welcome to Sunday Night Live, week 2. We did it 2 weeks in a row. Pretty exciting stuff. See if I get any better. Nah, it's fine. If it's like brought it over here. Yeah, it's a little bit better. That looks better. So yeah, we're live post weekend. We actually got some work done on some tractors this weekend with the farm all getting the lower front end, which yesterday was harder when I first saw it to see if it actually looked like it had gotten lower in the front, but now staring at it, I think it did. At least it's a lot lighter tire. I mean, worst case, I should have weighed them. I can probably look and see on the website what the shipping costs and what the tires two people handing out. Welcome. But yeah, should be a fun. I don't know. It looks good. It looks cooler. That's all that really matters with that tractor. It pulls. It's gonna probably pull about the same. But then we also got the gooseneck fixed. I was gonna film some of that, but it was working out so well. It was one of those I figured if I'd busted the camera out, either everyone that films them working, it always takes longer to set shots up and put the camera up and try and talk to the camera entertaining like. And I was one of those. I just wanted to get it done, so that was my thought process. Was I'm just gonna work and try and get it rock and rolled out of here, a little bit faster. So that's why I didn't film any of it. But we basically had to replace a leaf spring on that, which was a pretty easy job. Eventually you'll probably see that. I want to redo the entire suspension on that trailer because it's a 2003, I think, is what we figured it out. And it's been rode pretty hard, worked pretty hard in its life. Not since we got it. We've been pretty easy on it, but it just needs a lot of little things. Aesthetically, it's in really good shape. It just needs to get some paint, some wiring fixed. Thanks for the like, 3 people in. So we're hoping that with doing it like, spending a little bit of money on it now, it'll be a nice trailer for a very, very long time. But before I could do the tractor show stuff, I had to get that trailer fixed. And where Dad works, they're doing a shutdown where they're gonna have to all hands on deck here for the next couple weekends. So I wanted to get it done when I could versus trying to get it done later on. But then I ended up coming back and getting the tractor fixed, which hasn't really fixed, wasn't broke, but I don't know. I'm excited to see how those tires handle. I think it'll be, like I said, I think it'll look pretty sweet. We'll end up putting that weight bracket that's over here somewhere. It's like right there, I think. On it and hang some suitcase weights on it, make it look like a real Polar for that show. Don't forget again, April 30th. That's when we're going to be going live with, or not live, but that's when the tractor show is. So we're excited about that. Really excited about that. Make sure I'm sure I've seen all my messages. But yeah, any more information on that, there's a couple videos back I talk about it. It's at Kingpins in Fulton, Illinois, halfway between Highway 30 and Highway 136. Show starts at about 10 o'clock. We'll run till about 4 or 5. Honestly, as late as you want to stay, but that's when I'll shut things down. We'll have a pedal tractor pull. We'll have hopefully live music, as I'm working on still. It'll be a fun time. I just bought some new subwoofers that we're going to be using for the live music. We're going to be kicking the jams. I got like 1,000 watts of subwoofer power. Update on the blister from yesterday's video. Still right there. But yeah, so that'll be a fun time. But yeah, throw up link what you did over the weekend, motorsports wise. I know racing started. I haven't got a chance to get to any racetracks yet this year. Hopefully, once the shows, I'll shift gears on that pretty soon. I know my buddy D-Rec, the number 9 modified, I got his sheet metal hanging up over there. He's actually working on his car tonight, and I was going to try and get down there. But by the time we got home from supper, we needed to get stuff ready for the week. And so, because that's what my plan originally was, that we're going to go live down in Bettendorf or in LeClaire at his place. But yeah, so that's what that's kind of the weekend recap, I would say. Um, was really just working yesterday. The weather's gorgeous today. Hopefully it stays this nice for a while. Hopefully next weekend. Next weekend is not much. Probably won't be much for videos out. With it being Easter, there's quite a bit of we have quite a bit of family stuff coming up, so that kind of puts a dampener on getting projects done, which is fine. And then it's pretty much the week of the show after that. No, wait. There's one more weekend in between there. Yeah. About had a heart attack. So we shall get that all figured out here pretty soon. But yeah, so let's see if I got, oh, that should be right. I think I got my chat where I can actually see it tonight. Last time I know it was kind of tough to, where I couldn't see the chat as well. I'm trying to think of anything else exciting we did this weekend. Really not much. Like I said, it was mostly just getting those tires done, and I should have taken them to a place. It's funny how those were so narrow. And as you saw in the video, I put the both beads on. Hey, what's up, Patch? Sorry. It's I put both beads on with it without, like, at one time, just slid them all on. So that was kind of worked out nice. But it will be interesting to see how much weight I lost in the front there. I had to lose something. I mean, those tires are 2 inches or 4 inches shorter total and a whole lot more narrow. I think the tractor lost, because I think if they're 4 inches taller, I would lose like 2 inches overall. So, because of like 2 inches on each side. So it's probably about what it lost to. Eventually, what I want to find is some kind of an even lower front end, so it'll actually be even lighter. Oh, baby Glenn says hi. Yeah, it was a little bit later tonight because we are trying to get all the stuff done for the week for the baby, and I was actually feeding him. Ooh, sounds like the old helicopter's taking off. We live like 2 blocks from the hospital, so hopefully that's never usually a good sign when that thing's flying up. Not usually, at least. But yeah, whatever route they're taking or it's coming from, no, maybe not. Usually goes straight west, but at least when they brought it in this time, it sounded like it took right over the house. But hopefully nothing. They get it all figured out, because that is not a fun time. But yeah, so how's it going, Patch? You get anything good this weekend done? Anything exciting, new? Oop, oop, oop. Yeah, exciting in the baby bibs world. Glenn has been on solid food, so that's kind of that's been a game changer, I'd say, to things. Makes it fun. I can feed him more. I mean, I could give him a bottle, but it's kind of fun to be able to do that a little bit more. Makes it one step closer to Glenn being able to. It's a lot of work, yeah. I know how that. Well, I don't, but it was like it seemed like I got all my work projects done by like Saturday at noon. I'd done more than I'd done the last couple of weeks, just because we actually went out Friday when it was like still kind of snowing out here and got it tore apart. Most of it was the old blue torch. And then I had to go to the Quad Cities, which is about 45 minutes from here, to Mutual Wheel down in Moline. They got like 9 locations, I think. If you're in Eastern Iowa, Western Illinois, and you need heavy duty truck parts, go there. I'd say tell them that Bibster sent you, but only the Moline store knows who Bibster is. I worked down there for a few months between being I was a mechanic and where I work now. But a pretty cool family-owned company. They do a lot of like for semi trucks, they do all their own brake. There's some that they don't, but a lot of their brakes they do in-house. Like they reline them down actually at Moline. Oh, Pat, you're like me. I've approached my radiators. Had a birthday at the radiator shop. I need to lay a little more of a stink on that, but I just haven't, mostly because I haven't had to need to get that project done. But I mean, I'd really like to take that to shows this spring. I'd like to take it to polls. So maybe this week I'll have a day where I can actually get in there and be like, hey, I'd like to give you money. Hopefully not as much money now because it's been a year. Especially before planting season gets big and everyone's, you know, wanting stuff done, because it's been outrageous how long that's been in there. What's the head off of patch that you've been waiting on the machine shop for? I'm assuming one of your farmalls, but could be wrong. I've been following a YouTube channel. It's like Jim's Automotive, the 400. Okay. I think it's like they just cleaning it up. Or are they doing any extra fun stuff? Is that like, what is that, like the 8603? Is that the head number on the 400s? Is that the? I think it's like 86 or 8060. Is it 8060? I think is what the hot number is for those heads that aren't the LP heads. But there's this channel. It's called like Jim's Automotive and repair. But they do a lot of like head repairs. They do crankshafts. They do a lot of like not fun stud removal stuff. But I started watching some of their shorts and some cool stuff. But just, I mean, we have a machine shop in our store where I work, and we do some of that stuff. But it just takes, you got to be a whole nother area of work to try and be that precise and being able to just know exactly what you're doing. Oh yeah, I'm excited about that pull. Yeah, that's what's up, Derek. Derek, I was just talking about you. We were talking about that I was gonna come down tonight, but then, baby, how's the geometry? D-Rec Wilson, you'll see him on the channel. Well, you've seen him already on the channel. Last year there's a video where it's like the only time I was at a racetrack in 2021, and we went racetrack testing on his race car. But he's actually premiered his car. I haven't actually seen what it looks like because I'm still not on Facebook yet. But my wife, through running the BIBSTER'S page now, shared it. So check that out if you're on BIBSTER Promotions on Facebook. But yeah, they're doing race car geometry, and I'll tell you what. I thought there was. I mean, there's no math in pulling. Not a whole. I mean, there is, but there isn't. That racetrack stuff, that race car stuff. There is 17,000 ways to screw yourself up every night. Like the frame manufacturers are like, hey, depending on where you race, you're gonna end up using, like, in your setup, you're gonna use 3 of these holes that we put on the back of the chassis for the 4-link to hook up. Let's give you nice. Setting caster and camber, then scale. Nice. Let's give you 17 holes to choose from. You're only going to need to use 3. Which 3 are probably the 3 you used in your last chassis, so you probably knew what you wanted. And you probably won't go away from those 3, even though maybe the other ones will work. It is wild. I mean, the amount of, you see, and the amount of good race car drivers out there, amount of good setups that can get it done right is impressive. There's that kind of knowledge out there. That's what I think is impressive to me. People knock on dirt track racing. It's like, oh man, it's so much of guys. But I had a buddy once, Jacob Hoffman, who ran Simply Modified photography. He always said before he got into dirt track racing, he always thought, because he lived by the track but never went and watched them, he just thought it was guys in old Monte Carlos beating on each other. I said, no, that's just hobby stock. But the amount of science and math and expertise, and then at the same time, what's up, Rick? And then the amount of just ingenuity that goes into dirt track racing, and that it happens thousands of times a weekend all over the U.S. is impressive to me. And there's, when I first started doing BIBSTER stuff, I was trying to do the research. Yeah, and that's the thing too. There's the driver preference. I mean, it's like there's the way. What's up, Evan? There's the way that on paper it should work, and but depending on your driving style, that's not going to work. And so the biggest thing is finding what your driving style is and catering that to your setup. And sometimes maybe your driving style is just not right. I know we've gone through that. What's up, Flegel? We've gone through that with Derek, where it's, learning how this with what your package you have engine wise, how you want to be able to drive it, getting that done, and then matching the setup to meet that, which is what I always think is insane. So, and then you put 24 of them out there on a 3/8 mile or a quarter mile track and tell them to go. So that's what's wild. I'm hopefully, like I said, once the racetrack's over. What's up, everybody? What's up, Fleagle Evan? Um, once the once the 30th happens, which also, so now I was going to go to. I kind of feel bad because so originally I had planned on. I kind of thought about doing my tractor show the same weekend as Dutch Days in Fulton, because Dutch Days the last 2 years got canceled because the old Rona, which this is sinuses, so don't be having a cow and I'm coughing half a lung up over here. But they decided to have it this year, and so I was going to go to that show, and it's the week after my show. But then Fleagle just said that that's when his plow day is, so I'm going to that instead. Do you guys remember that last year? There's videos on that. I can actually. I'm gonna see if I can do this here. Let's see. I think that works. Okay, I'm trying to make some of you guys moderators, so if you guys see that, that's why. But bam. Okay, cool. I'm gonna do more of you guys, but I'm just getting a few of you. I'm getting it. Anyway, so Fleagle, because I'm only saying this because you can drop a link to your channel now, Fleagle. Yes, yeah, I'm excited. Well, and I got, as I told my dad today at church, I was like, hey, so Fleagle's the same day, and I'm like, and he's coming to my show, so I gotta go there. Like I said, that's the thing too with Rick is you all that science you do. Wait, hold on before I get into that. I'll come back to that because otherwise I'll get distracted. But so that I'm gonna go to that plow day. Probably do the same thing I did last year, where I'll film some, but I'll probably be Fleagle's camera guy that day. I had a blast doing it last year. What's up, Gary? And it helps. I know it helps him out a lot that he can just run the plow. So, and it makes it easier than me trying to run a plow and run camera. So, what I did last year was I just ran around, and ended up just throwing mounts here and there and making really cool footage. So, and then also sneaking some of my own footage in. So, I'll do the same thing this year probably. Fleagle is I'll be your camera guy and just focus on that. And hopefully, you guys have a really fun day. But that is so. It's the first weekend in May, which I think would be like May 7th or something like that. Up at Fleagle's place. Yeah. And it's a super easy location. They got a place to they got an unloader tractor. So if you got plows that are, like you're gonna load them on your trailer at home, it's a pretty good way to load it. It's got a nice big hard surface road, next to the farm. So it's easy to get that, and it's really easy to get to. It's right by Freeport, so I know there's gonna be some more information on that. But Fleagle, if you want, now that you're a mod, you can actually drop a link to your channel. Check your channel out. I know you guys all already have, but just in case you haven't. But yeah, Rick, that's the thing too. You take all that science, all that stuff you do to your car, and Derek's talking about it now. All that science, and you go out there and take it out in the first lap. I've seen that, and then it's just thrown away. Everything's out of whack. So you have to redo it all. I mean, it has to be a passion. When you see guys out there, what I like about the dirt track racing is you see guys that they genuinely love it, and it's just what they're passionate about and what they want to go out and do. Some guys, it's an excuse to go out and party, and that's fine too. But for those in the pits, and sometimes you see them, they're not the ones in the big enclosed trailers. They're usually on an open trailer, and they're out there thrashing with their family and just trying to learn something. It's not about necessarily winning. I know with us, our dream is always to get that infamous feature win. And one of these years we're going to do it. I think this could be the year. The problem is around here, the modified world, I don't think there's been a national champion. I'm trying to think. The last couple of years, a national champion or really high in points has come from this area who you race against. Now, I do know there's about 8 more late models that are coming out this year. Now, a lot of the late models are coming out of the sport mod world, with a few names I've seen thrown out there that are going to go late model racing, which I think is going to be good, especially because a lot of them are guys that raced at East Moline. So East Moline's a great place to get involved in the late model program because they're kind of lower. I'm not saying low on numbers in the sense of I'm not knocking it. They haven't had quite the numbers they have in their other classes in late model, so you can get into the late model class. And in reality, the tow money is, that's a good point, Logan. And the tow money and all that for late model is better than any other classes. So I mean, you can get a late model program set up on an older chassis, go to a place like East Moline and do decent in sense of, kind of not, you're never paying the bills, but you're not losing as much as if you were trying to go out there in the modified car and be in a full field and take half the money for tow and half the money for showing up. Yep, that should be Fleagle's channel there. Um, so that's something to think about. That's I mean, if you offset that, 3 or 4 sport mods going into that late model class, they'll be able to have 15, 16, 17 cars consistently, which at East Moline is a great number of late models. They're very big cars, and then that'll dwindle down that sport mod class to not really having to ever run a B main. Most people are going to make the feature. Should be good. Um, yeah, last year was the first year, but it was a good turnout for the first year. It was a good we always call it kind of a dry run, making sure everything's firing on all cylinders, making sure it's all working. Hopefully the stream is not going down right now. We'll find out. That's where it's at. I've always thought fun. I've just never done it because mostly it's that wasn't what we were into, and it takes a lot to get into it. Yeah. That is true, Derek. It's always been his inheritance, which honestly, it's the way to do it. I mean, the memories that Derek and Greg are having as they're building the car, they're not always the best memories. Sometimes it's there's wrenches flying sometimes, but genuinely it's awesome. It's been fun to be kind of getting sewed into that family a little bit with being around the dirt car more. But yeah, so that's where, like I said, once we got a dirt track season, and I haven't really talked much dirt track, I in this area we're knee deep in it. The other thing I'm gonna try and get involved a little bit this year, at least going and seeing, is some of the drag racing stuff. Like I said, the area that we're located at, we have, I think it's like 4. We have a lot of dirt track racing. I mean, within 2 hours of me, there's a ton of dirt track racing. And I forget about West Liberty opening back up. And then there's a full-blown drag strip. There's 2 places that are dedicated mud bog locations that they do mud bogs, and you can do minor traveling and get to another one of those. There's 2 antique within, like I said, within 2 hours. Actually, within 2 hours you can get to Wisconsin. So there's like 4 antique. Wait, 5 antique. Yes, that would be cool. We should. We definitely should. I like that idea. I like that idea. There's let's just say there's 5 or 6 antique tractor pulling clubs between in Illinois on the western side. There's Riverbend. There's Eastern Iowa antique tractor pullers. There's Hawkeye vintage tractor pullers, which is up by Dubuque, Pecocata. There's ECI, which is full blown tractor pullers. That's East Central Iowa tractor pullers. On the Illinois side, there's the Weekenders. That's up by Rockford. There's Community, which is one of the best antique tractor pulling clubs that I've dealt with in southern Wisconsin. I mean, all within a few hours. You could go to a motorsport. You could go to a different motorsport every weekend, a couple times a weekend. One on Friday night you could go to the drag strip. Saturday you could go up to Wisconsin, watch a tractor pull. Sunday go to Dubuque or East Moline, watch dirt track racing. I mean, there's not many other areas that I know, and maybe I could be wrong. So yeah, Riverbend in east or western Illinois area. There's not many areas that I know that have that much motorsports that packed together. Yeah, I'm not even including the garden tractor clubs. There's a couple of those around here. So I mean, and I'm missing some. I know that, but in other words, it's a great place if you're into motorsports to be around. And that's why I do what I do. That's one of the reasons why we started BIBSTER'S Promotions. It wasn't just to promote one sport. It wasn't to announce one sport. It was to try and find out everything that's going on and try and bring everything that's going on up a level. We took a step back last year because of the move and the baby, but we're going to come in this year headstrong, and we're going to try and see more motorsports, go to more sports. Oh, there's demolition derbies all over the place too. Yeah. Between Pete Monster, there's some Viola Boys, I think is how you pronounce it. They do a lot of the fairs and East Moline, or no, in Davenport. They do a lot of demolition derbies in Davenport. I mean, it's just wild stuff. So, and then there's Apple River. It's not Apple River anymore. I forgot what they're calling it now. But there's is it, you lost sound? Oh no. Let me know. We're in good air. Yeah, that's true. That is a really good point. So let me know if anyone else lost audio for just D-Rec. Um, it is being that there's a ton of like with our cars rusted on the road. It's like stuff ends up in junkyards. You can find it and piece it together, and it seems to work. Okay, making sure. Derek, it might just be you on that one, so see what you can do there. But yeah, and also next time you comment, actually, let me just go back up here. Oop, there you are. There you are. Let me just do add moderator. Okay. I'm trying to add some more moderators as I do this. It was you. Okay, perfect. But I don't know. That's why I like. It's just something that's fun. So it's whatever motorsport you're into, and the advantage with that many motorsports. Oh, I also forgot go-karts. There's go-karts everywhere. I can't remember all the places that they're at. I think there's a new track out by Milan. Derek will correct me on that. But and so the nice part about that too is with that many motorsports in this area, it's any budget. I mean, I think at this point I got like $3,000 wrapped up in the farm all. About $3,000 between buying it, the painting it 15 times, some of the weights, the front tires now, the hitch and some other stuff. Oh yeah. I think that's the thing too. Like there's down in the Quad Cities, there's a club. I don't know if they're still around, but that did like all the water skiing stunt stuff, So it's like people always talk about this area and knocking it. And it's like, I love it. I grew up here. I'm still here now, because number one, you have 4 seasons. There's something to do different every season. You get to have your winter fun. You get to have your summer fun. If it was just summer fun all the time, I mean, I don't know what I would do. I get bored having nice weather all the time. We gotta think about having nice weather when we're having bad weather. That's how the Midwest works. But yeah, so that's what makes it. But I think I'm like $3,000 wrapped up in the farm all. And no, is it not? It's not going to. Oh, I like that. I like Logan. I'd like to know more about that. Oh yeah. That's true. But see, Fleel, you're close to the border, so you could you're so close to Wisconsin, you can just dream of the gloriousness of that. It's like when I used to live in Fulton. I could see Iowa every day and just go, look at you over there, Iowa. Look at you. Hi. And luckily, both of my family and my wife's family's farms were in Iowa, so it was at least good. Yeah, that does sound awesome, Logan. Is that like what they do over in Europe? Because if you guys have ever seen that, and I'll try and find a video of that somewhere, but they like straight up race on like motocross tractors, it looks like. I mean, some of those European countries, they're wild. They do all sorts of crazy stuff with tractors. Have you ever seen like those speed plow contests they do where they're trying to plow it 55 mile an hour? Oh yes, you're Wisconsinite. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. It's fine. Well, no, that's not good because then I would be from Washington State and in Seattle. I don't want to be that. I do not. No. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh, what I was getting at before was, live streams are great because I just get distracted the entire time. Yeah, exactly. So I got like $3,000 wrapped up in the formal, and it's somewhat competitive in my local clubs where I can go out and have fun. I don't have $15,000 wrapped up in it, but I can compete, have some fun. But at the end of the day, it's not as expensive as some other sports. But some people, that's what their kicks are. And I just think that's what's also fun about this area. It's not just like, oh, you have to have this, $100,000 late model with some crazy motor and all this blah 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 stuff. It's like you can go out there with the karting around the area. It's like you can get into kart racing somewhat affordable. It still can sound crazy for what you're spending, but in the big scheme of things, you can get into it affordably and go out on a Sunday afternoon and race and have some fun. And the advantage of the kart is throw it in the back of your truck and go home. It's not like you have to have a big old trailer. So that's what's just nice. Wow. 40 miles on a crawler. That's got to be wild. That, like I said, when I first saw some of that speed plowing, I was like, they're throwing rooster tails with the furrows, just and getting to the end of the field and just jamming it up in the air and spinning it around, holding the one brake, and like just no craps given. No, just full send, stop it on that loud pedal. Also in fun channels to check out, there's a channel called Key Farm. And they had a big video. He did a big video a couple years ago where he did a Predator motor in a Farmall H. He actually made it remote controlled and did some cool stuff with it. Well, now he's got one in a pickup truck. I know this has been done before, but he's bringing it along for it's like a little it's a Mazda B2300, which for the Mazda that's a Ford Ranger. It's just in the Mazda. Whatever number after the B is, that's the size of the engine. So like the 2300 would have been the 4-cylinder, the B 3000 would have been the 3.0 V6, and the B 4000 would have been the 4.0. But he's got a video of him he's got a Predator motor in that truck, and I think it goes he's got it geared now, where it goes 24 mile an hour. And so I was watching this video tonight, and I like that kind of just off the wall thinking. I've been thinking about doing something with a Predator motor. I can't figure out what yet. And obviously not anything normal, because why would it be normal? We do have an old mini bike out at the farm that in this day and age it would be pretty easy just to throw a Predator motor on it and get it restored so that someday Glenn could drive it. Originally we were going to try and find a diesel. We had found some diesel single cylinder back in the day. Me and my brother-in-law, well, before it was a brother-in-law, we're talking about putting that on that mini bike out there. But maybe that'll be a fun restoration, like a long-term restoration project. Dig that thing out, go spend the $200 on a Predator motor, throw a clutch on it, get it so it runs, beef it up a little bit, put some probably better brakes on it, call it good. But I've been thinking about that it's fine for Predator. Yeah. But that thing is also like a whole lot of tractor Flegel. I mean, you got a 426 crammed into a D19. That is awesome. Even check that out. Check out his channel, Flegel's channel there. It's pretty. It is gonna be nasty. I can't wait to see that. I get to see that in May when I announce that poll. It's a 2-day poll that I'm announcing. So, but it's gonna be pretty stout. And the thing about it too is what's funny is because of the class he's in, he can't run up. He's kind of in a weird place with the RPM where it really wants to live longer. So the motor itself should just it's really not. It's not going to be stressed for what it's doing. It's really going to be kind of like almost detuned in the sense of the RPM he's spinning. I mean, there's things done to it that's not detuned in that way, but it's not. It's going to be much less stress on it. But yeah, that is a cool build. That has been fun to watch, and it basically was a lot of parts pulled out of a junkyard and brought back to life. So I've always started with someone running tractors. Well, this one was not, but this one's not mine. I think we got a motor for it. I really don't know at this point, because I haven't heard anything. But yeah, so there's that. Oh, that is okay. I couldn't remember. I thought at one point it must be Bob's on that. Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah, that is also. I completely forgot about that. I've been to the one in what was that, Spragsville? Oh, wrong side. Go check that out. I've been to the one in Spragsville. It's a really nice off-road facility. Yeah, that's the thing too. I completely forgot about dirt track, or not dirt track, but like Brappen, dirt bike racing. I mean, there's dirt bike racing happens all over around here, like the off-road stuff. I mean, like going through the trails. Any and every motorsport you could think of happens within 2 hours of this area. And maybe there are other areas where there's this much motorsports and that much, but I think outside of like North Carolina, where all of the NASCAR teams are, and there's a ton of other industries that support NASCAR that then support other motorsports too. I don't know of another area where there's this variety pack of motorsports that you can hear about. Like I said, there might be some out there, but it's just, I think not in the quantity we have. There might be like one dirt track next to somewhere where there's some other motorsports at, but it's not quite the same. And I don't know if it's our location to Highway 80, if that's what's helping that, if it's just because we're centrally located in the country. There's some science and some math and geometry and geography that is way over this little guy's head. But yeah, I forgot that. You're right, at factory specs on that. I mean, minus not having a turbo. Yeah, it was a 301. It was limited to 2200 Okay. Now, so is he going to run? Is he running that Farm Plus then, since he can run up in RPMs? I'm excited about that class, and selfishly, I'm excited because it means that if I take my farm all up there, that's a good point, Diesel. Power 71. That is a very good point. If it's nice out all the time, you find other outdoor things to do. We have an entire winter to tinker, and you tinker on your stuff while you're stuck in your garages. And then when the weather gets nice, you want to go play, and then tear it all up. If you could play with it all year long, you'd eventually break it to the point where you couldn't afford to fix it, and you wouldn't have the time to fix it. So then you let it sit on the buy side, or you let it sit, and then it goes bad, and then you sell it and get rid of it. That's true. There's also that with the ag base area around here, everyone is, there's a ton of mechanics and people that have mechanical ability that they just were handed down generation by generation, and that also a lot of that helps too. A lot of people race because their dad raced or someone else in their family raced, and so it helps to get started when there's already a baseline. You're not going out there and trying to write the check for everything. I know that you see a lot in the polling world. But yeah, the reason that Farm Plus, it's taking a lot of the tractors that would have just eaten my farm all alive if I ever brought it up to community. I mean, just my farm would have had zero chance. Now, just like in Dumb and Dumber, you're saying there's a chance. We've gotten rid of some of those guys to open that field up a little bit. That old, old 120 pounds of compression farm all over there. The only one I got to worry about is old Hendrix. Because Hendrix is out there, my buddy Matt, and he's the king. Oh, no. Yeah, oh, yeah, you're 17, but I'm worried about your 17, but not as much as some of those ones that have bumped up. We know which ones are really just, their chassis are really good. We'll say that. I mean, like in the farm stock, it's all about weight placement and the right tires and having all the T's dotted, crossed, and all the I's dotted. Yeah. Because when you can't do much to the motor and you can't go that fast and you can't turn that many RPM and your hitchhike can only be so good. Yeah. He did build that tractor. But he's always talking about, I don't make enough power to be Farm Plus. I couldn't be Farm Plus with that tractor. And I'm like, you're running the thing on like 115 octane. He does. Come out, Derek. I just told Dad I wouldn't sell one of my 70s, but yeah, we could find you something. But yeah, that was when he was always like, oh, it's not. I'm like, I think it could, but the thing is, there's just if y'all are watching now or watching later, the big Farm Plus it's all in. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Exactly. The difference is in their farm class, which most farm classes are, you pretty much have to have a stock style hitch with stock length and 18 inches off the ground, that's your big bad number is your 18-inch hitch, where the higher you can go with your hitch, the more basically you can, it helps out the angle. The closer your hitch is to your rear axle and the higher it is, the more it's going up on the fulcrum higher, so it can put more pressure down, which more pressure down helps the weight transfer of the tractor to go to the back tires. The faster and the better you can get the weight transfer to the back tires without the front end being 3 feet in the air, because that way you lose all your hitch height, the more your tires can hook up, and if your tires can hook up, then you're going down the track. Well, when you go for that 18 inches hitch height, whichever, and I think theirs is 34 inches back on their farm stock, at least in farmhalls, and then I think it's 14 inches back from the PTO, I think, or something like that. Either way, it's pretty much in the stock location. It's back far enough that it's not getting the same amount of force put on the hitch that helps that whole tractor do its thing. Well, with their Farm Plus, I think it's 20 inches back, 20 inches up, and that makes it where now when you move that hitch in 13, that's what it is. Yes. That when you move that hitch closer to the rear axle, again, it's like taking the fulcrum and going from way back here with all your weight, you're putting it closer, so you're actually putting more pressure down, which helps again, that whole thing of you want that weight transfer, and Dirk brings up a point. It's the same way in dirt track racing. You want that car to work in a way where it puts as much of that weight when it shifts, it's putting all that weight right where you want it on your left rear is where you're doing your drive is from left rear, I think. Derek, correct me, I'm pretty sure left rear is where your drive is. So you want it to be able to put the weight where you want it so it can drive and grab traction and transfer right. It's the same kind of a concept. We're just trying to transfer a weight off of our front end. Because again, I was talking to a guy at church this morning about it. If you don't figure this out, I talk tractor pulling all the time. Usually wrong facts, but sometimes right. But I was like, if your front end's not off the ground, it's worthless. Like, you want every ounce of weight your tractor weighs to be on your rear tires. Now, the advantage, if the track is hooking up enough and your hitch is right and all that stuff, if your front end weight comes off, because 100 pounds on the front of your tractor, if you're remembering it's like a fulcrum now, it's like a teeter-totter, you're putting 100 pounds out here versus 100 pounds right at the fulcrum. The weight out here, it takes a whole lot more weight to get that up. Yeah. And so if you can put 100 pounds out here, once this 100 pounds comes off the ground like you want, it carries that front end, it acts like a lot more weight to that rear tire, those rear tires. It takes more force, more dig into the track to make it go down the track better. So that's why if you're at a good track, you need to have a bunch of front weight. When I was at Sigourney, if you guys watched that video at Sigourney, there's a ton of weight on the front because that was a really good hooking track where they were having to get that much weight up there to keep that front end down, but not on the ground. You don't want it, like I said, front tires on the ground. What's up, Keith? Worthless. Front tire off the ground just a little bit, perfect. You want to just kind of hover. Because if it goes too high, then what happens? We're talking about that hitch height again. It goes too low, all of a sudden, it's not putting the same kind of pressure. It's not, instead of having all that weight up here and pushing down, once it gets down to a certain point, it starts to actually unload. It can actually unload the rear tires. Or if you have wheelie bars, it's gonna hit your wheelie bars, and then you're gonna unload your rear tires. Tires are gonna slip. You're gonna come back down. So it's all a science. But all that said, that's why farm stock is, I think, so much fun, because it's all weight placement. It's all figuring out at the track you're at where you want to put that weight. Now, a lot of times it's like just throw everything in the rear. Like for Eastern Iowa, the tracks we pull, it's like just throw that stuff in the rear, put as much weight behind you as you can, get that to the ground, because they're always anti-traction tracks. They're really hard. You don't dig in that much. So we did dig in that second time at McCausland or at Grand Mound. But that's what it's about, and that's what you learn. Well, and I think, what's up, Bryce? I think I was talking to a guy at church, and he had his brother pulled an old 4320 something. He pulled an old John Deere, and he actually lengthened his hitch. For everyone else was shortening it up, and he lengthened his out, had to put less weight on the front, and it worked. He was out pulling everybody. So there might be some science to letting that hitch be a little bit longer, but everyone thinks that the shorter hitch is the way to go, and maybe it is. But that's the thing too. Sometimes it takes somebody thinking, sometimes it takes getting a little outside of the box and trying something different. I talked about that when I went to McCausland the first time. Everyone was taking that right side and digging that track in where there was actually a little bit of a V like that. And I know. I always tell my secrets accidentally. There's another idea I have. Wait, did I forget that idea already? There was one I had the other day about a weight placement or weight idea. Oh, it's a hitch secret that I'm still keeping up here because I don't know if it'll work, but if it does work, it's going to be hilarious. So where I pulled across the center of that, and I was able to not collect any dirt on the pan. Just trying to think outside the box. I was looking at it like, I'm going to try somewhere else on this track. This track's garbage. Might as well try somewhere else. And so that's the thing, too. Sometimes it takes somebody thinking outside the box and trying something different, because a lot of motorsport stuff, and you guys will probably all see that, is I saw the last guy do this. It didn't suck, so I'll try that too. Versus, hey, I saw the last 4 guys not do that well. I'm going to try something different. Maybe I'll do better. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you go down in a ball of fire, but it's always a good time. Yeah. Anyway, I just realized it's been going for 45 minutes. So we'll try and keep these things not too overly long. So if anyone wants to go back and watch them later, it's not crazy length. Which I think usually it's my mom watches them later. Asked about when, because last week I got a message. What are you talking about buying another tractor? I'm like, I'm not buying another. Because remember I talked about buying a tractor to get it running for the show, like at the show. Not gonna do that this year. Maybe next year. But so she was like, we have so many tractors already fixed. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to sell those. So, but anyway, that's enough. That's enough of that. But I know. I need to come on down. It's been really, hopefully one of these nights. Probably no promises until after the tractor show, just because once I get a few more things ready for it, then I'd probably be free. But it's kind of a hectic. There's like 15,000 things going on up here, and it's leaking out the side of my brain or my ear. But on that note, thanks everybody for coming and checking the channel out. If you're not subscribed somehow and you found me, oh yes, but yeah, mine is basically okay. So mine's a way I'm trying to figure out how to make the center bar not work. Where it's there, but it's not structurally doing anything, so you're actually hooking off your hoop. It's a dumb idea because it'll cause the tractor to do a wheelie like nobody's business. But I'm thinking these tracks where I can't put front weights on because they're so garbage, it might work. It might not, but I'm trying to figure out a way to. I'm gonna have an extra hitch because I got that new one for this tractor, so I'm gonna play around with it a little bit and see if I can make the ultimate cheater hitch. We'll call it. We'll see if I do it. If I end up doing it, I'll just delete this video, I guess. Who knows? Anyway, that's enough of that. If you watch to the end, you got my little bitty secret. But we'll see you guys all in the next one, next Sunday, probably about 9:30, because I know my Mr. Rick, Uncle Rick, does a video premiere usually about 9. And it'll, so I usually try and go about 9:30 by the time I get everything ready. But we'll see you all next week. Videos hopefully coming out this week. Hopefully we start on the pedal tractor puller. We got to get that going, so we'll try and get some work on that. Probably work on this, probably work on that, probably do some stuff back here. Anyway, it's been fun. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.